Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. For today's video we are trying to finish up the last two videos for December daily. Where I left you off was on story 19, so we're doing story 20, 21, and 22 if I've planned this out properly, and then clearly the last video will be 23, 24, and 25, so the last, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, which are going to be very picture heavy. We have a big family and we had to do his side of the family for Christmas Eve and then my side of the family plus Christmas on Christmas Day. So they're photo heavy pages. But for 20, remember we finished up on this side. I'm simply just still waiting. I know I probably said it in that video for me to fill out a whole sheet for journaling so I can put them all down on these sheets. So the thing is though too, we have to use what I have designated to use. So that means this paper is still ready to go. This one that we did from prep day. And then my page from prep day, which is the little present burst, which is going to be used for Christmas Eve because I have tons of photos. So this one with the burst will be used for Christmas Eve. So these are the ones that I definitely have to get used. This one's going to be used also for the 25th. And then I pretty much know that these are the ones that are not going to get used this year. But as I look at them, I can put this in my story albums. They're not December themed or Christmas themed, so I can use these on something else. But other than that, I think I used everything I pretty much wanted to for the most part in my album, which is kind of fantastic because you just want to use like a bulk of the product, And you know what I'm realizing? This is just a side note, and I know I'll probably have a talk about it at the end during my flip through, is, I already have a style. I'm realizing I have a style. And when I'm doing December daily, it's very minimal. It's minimal. And I feel like, and I'm going to say it now, but watch me next year, still do. That I feel like I maybe don't need the main kit anymore because I have such a stash already, and maybe just get a few of the add-ons, like, go for the decorative 3x4 and 4x6 picture card, pocket cards, and maybe go for still the die cut pages because I do like this pack and I did use about 3 or 4 of them in this. But I just don't need all the other things because I do just have a simple approach and still get the acetate, like the acetate sheets. I did use a bunch of them in here. You know what I mean? So like, not that I'm mad at my album or anything. I think it's gorgeous. I just think that I've definitely learned my style, and I almost need to have like a journal moment about it where when it comes next year, like, remember these thoughts, because I don't want to, overspend, not to say overspend, but just, spend more when I know I always just like a big photo. I just like a big photo. And some of these things are just, not to say too much, but in essence, it's just a reflection on how December daily has turned out so far. And it's really simple, which is fine, like that's just my style. So we are doing these stories. So I was just trying to bring this over so that you can see it. So story 20 is going to be my top 12, because there's 12 stories of the year, meaning books that I've read. So here I got them all cut out. So these pretty much were like one per month. So it was like, actually they're not in order on here, but January, February, March, it was pretty much. But there were some like, months where I didn't read anything that was really like a 5-star for me. So then I would pick another month that really stood out to me. So these are my top 12. So that we're going to do top 12 stories for story 20. 21, we are going to talk about my daughter's elf, because in most of my albums, I've already talked about this before story 21. So it's just funny that I'm like, wow, I'm doing a Twinkle. Our elf's name is Twinkle story kind of late, and it's going to be using the back side of this one. So when we turn it over, and this was one of the gifts that she got, was the Lego tree, and she did put it together. This was just a generic, post photo from the internet. And so I have the letter that we need to incorporate when she arrived, and so on. So that'll be that. So then we're on the back side, which will be this side, which is going to see the sand Christmas tree in our area, and sort of have this as a filler in between it. And I don't know what I'm going to do on this side. So those are the 3 stories so far. We'll embellish and we'll go and see what we do, right? Because this is my letter, yeah. All right, so let's get creating. Okay, so let's get started with my favorite books of the year. So when I'm done with this one, I won't do like mini book reviews, but when I'm done, definitely screenshot these 12 because these are really good. And actually, you know, it's funny, I'm doing this voiceover and I read another book since making this page. And honestly, it's making me think about it as well. Like, it's a contender. Like, should I have an honorable mention at number 13? But these are just good. And actually, the theme overall, you know, if you kind of know any of these titles, all of them, in my opinion, have like a life lesson learned. I guess I was definitely in my feels this year. Like, they aren't all just romance that I read or smut. I got into some good fantasy. But these definitely have great, long lasting characters, and a few of them, like maybe three or four, have like the most sincere, like older person main character that had a life lesson in the second act of their life. If you read the Kristen Hanna's The Women, like, no contender, hands down best book. But yeah, they all were good and memorable characters. Like The Collective Regrets of Clover, that was so good too. And like that one, for instance, I need to have like an actual copy because that one needs a reread. Wedding People, just good banter, life lesson learned. Una Out of Order, love. She, you know, in essence, she does like almost like time travel, but doesn't realize it. So she lives her life out of order for a year, and obviously that comes with some lessons too. It was just, they were all just really good at that kind of overall theme. And so those are in the inside of the page. And so I'm going to make a pocket on the outside. And overall, this page in the end becomes quite a thick little page. So I'm using this acetate with these packages slash presents on it. This is from an old Heidi Swapp collection. It's acetate. And I did audition this one. And I was like, should I use that as my paper and then something else for the acetate while I make almost like these 3x8 long cards. So these pictures here are from, if you are familiar with having a Goodreads account, they kind of give you like a running list of all of your books you read, and also break it down by like longest book, shortest book, most read, least read that I, you know, in my selections, and then gives you like total pages read for the year, and highest like books with my 5 stars that I gave. And it's just kind of nice to include this. And then it gives you like a tally mark. All of these are images of like the covers of the books. And so I just screenshotted them as best I could, with keeping most of the covers intact, and some of them got compromised, which is okay because overall, you know, I have a list of all of them, and even in the app. So just I've done this now. This is 20. I started re-loving to read in 2020. All started with COVID and quarantine, and I got book of the month. And so that year, I think I did book of the month, and all I did was read whatever I got each month. And some month I may have picked 2. So that first year, 2020, I read 12, maybe 20 books for the year. And then in 2021, I think I read like 77, I think is a number that's sticking in my head, like around 80. And then 2022, I think I did hit 100. And then the last 2 years I've done 100. So last 3 years I've read 100 books each. So, you know, clearly a drastic increase in my reading abilities. And it's great. I don't watch TV anymore, guys. I simply read once I'm done crafting. I listen to a book while commuting to work. I listen to a book while picking up my child on parent pickup line. I'll read a book when my daughter is doing homework, you know. So I love it. And so if you have any good book recommendations, definitely leave them in the comment. I'd love to know what you read and that I should pick up. And I am branching out into other genres. I will say thrillers and horror are not my thing. I can do like psychological thrillers, so if you have a book recommendation that way. But mostly like, you know, fiction, nonfiction. I love a good memoir. Let me know what you're reading, okay? Then, so I went to my sewing machine, clearly why there was a dead moment there, and there I was finishing the stitches. So I made sure that was stitched and not just glued, so I didn't have to worry about these ever falling out. And they tuck right back in, and I made sure to make the pocket like a little bit taller than where they meet, because I just put them on copy paper on both sides to make them sturdier. And I did audition making the 20 out of these tall numbers, but I do not do that in the end. So on the back side of my Story 20, I am going to put put this like Google image of the Lego Christmas tree on there. Granted, I do have it. She did complete it. But I think I was trying to figure out how to way to get a white background on it. And so I was just like, you know what, why am I even fussing with trying to take this picture? Let me just Google it. So that is a Google image, but I make reference to it was one of the gifts her elf on the shelf gave her, and it took her a few days to complete it, but she did. And she's in her Lego stage right now and the Switch, but she still loves her Barbies, and Twinkle is still in her heart. She loved it every day. Some days were simpler than others, but most of the days she just got up from bed from sleeping and ran to go find wherever she may be hiding in the house. And so it's an endearing tradition. Now, by all means, if you didn't start this tradition, don't. But if you do this tradition, you know how loved it is for our youngsters. And so, you know, I think I'll get another year out of it. Next year she'll be 8, which breaks my heart because, you know, these are the stories that we like having in our album. I'm sorry, I'm getting all emotional over Elf on the Shelf. I think this is why I love this project. It's just because it captures some of these like great things that, you know, when she's 10 years old, an Elf on the Shelf story may not be in my album anymore, you know? And something else may, you know? So always be thankful, no matter how much you complete of these December dailies. They're so worth doing the project because it all goes so fast. Everyone always tells me, and it does. Anyways, back to our project. Sorry for the tears there. I'm in the feels. So here I am. I have the all my journaling done. You can see I'm putting it all down as I was crying. Because I like to put it all on one page. And so I did have the idea of just to put the journaling on the picture itself, but funny story, I ran out of ink in my computer, and so the last 3 days of pictures I had to send over to Walgreens, which does glossy paper, and in my house I use matte. It's semi-gloss, but so my stickers usually will act fine. So I just didn't want them to be like this matte blob in that corner. So here I am trying to make it work with the tag. So that's why it's a little bit vertical. And I'm going to make kind of like the photo slice again, like I did in story 6 or also in my prep day stuff, where I kind of find a spot where I can slice a photo and there's this negative space both sides of the tree. And I can make the tag kind of peek out there. And I'm just auditioning out a few different combinations of things that I have left over still from the like acetate and vellum pack. So I like the word twinkle. I'm auditioning like the color wheel. I think in the end I go with one of the wood veneer stars, and I do use that color wheel. I auditioned one of the sparkly stars, and I do like that, but I ended up kind of going through my little stash, and then the wood veneer, I was like, oh, I can punch the hole and thread it right through one of those. That's perfect. And that works. And then I have like these chipboard ones. I believe these are from an older year. And, you know, just kind of finishing up. I think in the end too, I am going to do another photo collage. But like I said, I ran out of printer ink, and I am down just that last photo in my album is the opposite side of like the stitched tree that you'll see in a moment. And we'll get there. So the photos will be complete. But who would have thought? And then the thing is, I did go on Amazon and Prime and try to look for my ink cartridges, and it was sold out everywhere at Target and Staples and Office Depot. And I couldn't get on Amazon Prime until like January 7th. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's why I sent it over to Walgreens, because I, in the end, did a subscription through Office Depot for it. It had a better price than Amazon, believe it or not. So it'll come like every 3 months, like on clockwork, which is pretty much how often I buy it. And it's still not here. So failure on my part for not buying, you know, backup of all my inks before the Christmas season. Shame on Ty. Like, I should know better. I'm a veteran, and I ran out of ink. There is no cyan or magenta in my computer right now. So no photos are, you know, coming out well without your blue and pink in there. So it's just funny. So I'm just making tracks on the back, which tracks for me just means like a piece of paper vellum that will be behind it so that it can glide in and out rather easily. And then I will go on the opposite side and do a little 1/2-inch punch off of on the Twinkle side so that I can put the letter Twinkle wrote her when she arrived. That's that little gingerbread moment on the bottom of the screen. And so that will be sitting between it too. So both of these kind of have like little tracks I have to keep track of. And while they're not adhered yet, because I do want to put pom-pom trim, they will be. So I just, like I said, did a little notch knowing that there would be something there, and I get a piece of vellum. And one scrap paper right there sort of fit it perfectly, and I just had to trim off like a, quarter of an inch off, and it was perfect. And I was like, voila, that's the little pocket for this one. So just do a track of double-sided tape on 3 edges and know that it will work out best. And so that one will be complete as well. And so now this is 20, 21, and 22. And I am currently, while this voiceover, done with my December daily. So I just have to edit the next video, and it will be for your viewing pleasure. And we are all set. It's been super fun to tell these stories with you. And I love scrolling Instagram, seeing everyone's pages. It's really a fun project I look forward to. Okay, that will wrap up stories 20, 21, 22. Right, 22. Yes. So for 20, we told the story of all the books I read. I made these columns. All are just screenshots from Goodreads. And then I did one of the journaling cards for my reflections on it. My little pocket. I added a tree. And the number is from an older Simple Stories collection. Can I grab it quick? Can I grab it quick? No, I cannot, but it's an old Simple Stories collection. And then my top 12 books are in here. Really love how this one turned out. Then you flip it over and we have the story of Twinkle, which I normally tell a little sooner. And everything just came out really good. You saw me just put together the little pocket to hold the note with the little vellum behind it. So that way it slips in and out quite nicely. And then we have story 22 that I'm using finally this little piece. That way I get to use all those foundation pages I made. And then we have my journaling on that tag where we also made a little slip pocket. The photo slicing was a lesson in the prep day this year. So I just did it again, just to make it work, because if you saw, I think I had my journaling, because my journaling was on matte clear sticker paper, and I printed these off and glossy because I've run out of ink. And these were sent to Walgreens so that I can finish this up. So it's on glossy paper instead of my semi-gloss that I usually have at home. So that is good. We are finishing this right along. So next story will be stories 23, 24, and 25. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, everyone, we're almost done with December Daily. Bye.